National Chairman of the governing National Democratic Congress, Asiedu Nketia, is calling for the removal of the Electoral Commission's top leadership, accusing them of gross incompetence and electoral mismanagement. Speaking on PM Express, he described the current EC leadership as unfit for purpose, citing what he describes as repeated failures to conduct credible elections. He warned that persistent electoral stalemates point to either negligence or outright inability to perform their constitutional duties.
Everything has been removed. So there is overwhelming evidence that this commission is not fit for purpose. And if any serious country will want to maintain this type of electoral commission, then I don't know what the country is about.
So there will be a change at the EC leadership?
There has to be a change.
Jimensa must go?
Yes, I think the three top leadership must all go.
So that will be the chairperson herself and her two deputies.
They must all go. They have mismanaged the commission so badly.
Their positions, though, are positions protected under the Constitution. They're guaranteed tenure.
But the Constitution has given us the path to remove them. And that is what is happening to the Supreme Court. You may be guaranteed, but there is no position under our Constitution. There is no appointee or state functionary who cannot be removed under this Constitution. There's a procedure of removing the president. There's a procedure of removing Speaker of Parliament. That's why there's a procedure for removing Chief Justice. Everybody has, a way of holding them accountable. Because if you make an appointee or a state functionary who is not accountable to anybody, there's no way to hold them to check, then you breed a monster. And so when you look through the Constitution, everybody in the Constitution can be changed.
You've just heard from the chairman of the NDC. Let's engage Paul Mensah Brampa. He's programs director as the Center for Democratic Development in charge of election security. And Mr. Brampa, thank you for joining us. This is not the first time that the competence of the leadership of the Electoral Commission have come under question. How can we rationalize what the chairman of the National Democratic Congress is saying?
Well, good afternoon. Let me take the opportunity to say very good afternoon to your viewers. I'm not privy to the preamble relayed that the competencies of the EC staff have been in question over the years. I'm not privy to that.
I mean, in the lead up to election 2024, there were so many issues that brought their credibility.
That's what I was coming to.
Okay.
As usual, and that has been a characteristic of Ghana's election, every opposition political party accuses state institutions who have roles to play in our elections. And this is not unique to what we witnessed ahead of the 2024 elections, with more threats and also campaign statements purporting to take actions against several state leadership of state institutions when the opposition won power. And I was just developing a blog post, and I titled it "Campaign Promises and Threats Comes to Fruition." So it's becoming a pattern that if we are not careful and we encourage that, we may not have any tenure or safety for any of our major institutions who play one or other role in our electoral process. So I see this as a fulfillment of campaign promises and threats.
The chairman makes the argument that there are processes in place to remove them, and he cited the ongoing process or inquiry into the suspension of the Chief Justice as an example. You say that it appears we don't have, or we don't want to have, a more permanent approach to leadership of these institutions, but that's why
I made an example of what happened in Mampong If the people who were protesting to canvass for their own to be nominated and appointed as municipal chief executive had done that lobby without the public getting to know their intention of ethnicity dimension of it, that would have been easier probably for the president to do. But as soon as you make a public statement backed by press conference that you want a northerner specifically, and the president privy to the constitutional provisions of non-discrimination, non-ethnicization of certain issues, it becomes difficult. Even if the president wants to fulfill your demand, it becomes difficult and you tie his hands because people will then refer to him. Why must it come from only NDC people to do this? So because people have documented threats, and for me, I have several of them, and I think you also have them, or when you go online, you can document many other platform statement threats from Sami Jamfi and from many other people who make specific statements of people they would sack when they want power. So it seems not to be the issue of competency, but it seems to be your threat during your campaign that you are fulfilling.
Mr. Brompa,
yes, there are laid down procedures. Yeah. My colleague Kuja Asante spoke about that earlier today. There are laid down procedures for some of these things. So you allow the systems to work. If indeed the people are incompetent, as you have so said, then the people will lay down the ground of their incompetencies. And some of these things are resolved. Let me come in here. I always say that election is a stakeholdership. There are security roles for the security agencies. There are expected behavior responsibility from political parties. But most often than not, when we are assigning apportioning blame, we put it solely on the Electoral Commission. We are here in the country that this Ablikuma saying that we are citing an example of incompetency. The Electoral Commission said it's ready. It set 2 different dates of announcing or going through the report. Tax from these same political parties.
All right, Mr. Brompa, we don't have enough time, so please
why then do we put the blame of incompetency only for that election on the Electoral Commission?
Let me get a word in. We don't have so much time. In your expert opinion, as someone, the director of, the one in charge of election security, do you see any evidence of wrongdoing, incompetence, of anything that warrants the removal of the leadership of the Electoral Commission as we speak?
I don't at all.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us on Joy News today.